Well, at least I tried, I guess. If you are unaware, I attended the first ever remote Duel Ycs with ignister. And I went 5-3, which is 1 point exactly away from making day 2. Which is why you may ask yourself now, why would anyone watch a deck profile of one of the most popular decks right now by someone who didn't even make day 2? To that I answer, good question. I don't know myself. You're here now. You cannot click off the video, just as impossible. You are forced to hit the subscribe button and like, and yeah, I'm stopping already. Anyways, this deck is really good. It is a lot of fun. I can highly recommend it, especially after the megatins, because right now it's like $200, which is not favorable. I will also make an in-depth guide on how to play this deck. This is just a simple deck profile if you already know how this deck kind of works, how it does shit. That will come out in like the next couple of days, maybe 3, maybe 4. So if you want to learn this deck, look forward to that. But yeah, I think I'll just start off with the deck profile. One thing to start off with is that recently the standard end board of this deck has kind of shifted to making an arrival with the Sus Imposter in the graveyard. I kind of disagree. I think that board just loses way too hard to any good combo deck ever printed. So what I decided to do instead is make a quote-unquote FTK end board. I do this by summoning Arrival Cybers with 4000 attack, once again the Negators in the graveyard, and also a Cybers Quantum Dragon. OGs of this deck know this card, because that's what we made last format. But what I also add to this is I use Getchiri to make Quantum Dragon unaffected by card effects. Now this board is realistically unoutable by anything. No deck can consistently out this board. This is why I call it a pseudo FTK, because yeah, your opponent can't out it. Next turn you just OTK them. They also won't out that anymore. And that's what I liked about this version. It just doesn't lose going first if you pull off your combo. But I guess we just start off with the main deck as per usual. 3 of each actual starter, who would have guessed. 3 of the Rhoda. This isn't a full starter by itself, unfortunately, but you still want to draw it because it's Rhoda. Kind of self-explanatory. Triple Doyon. Now, this deck does have a main 1-card combo. In this version, 2-card combo. You need 2 cards to make your Quantum unaffected. Otherwise, it's still Arrival plus just a normal Quantum. But what I did is I played pretty much as many of the extenders, the cards you search anyways, as possible, just so you don't lose to singular hand traps as much. If you rely on the 1-card combo purely being a 1-card combo, you will literally lose to any one single hand trap, and I counteracted by just playing the cards I search anyways. This also helps you a lot going second, because going second your opponent will have a lot of interruption, and just hard drawing the cards you need to turbo out helps a lot with that. By playing 3 Dorian and shit, you can also kinda OTK through Droll, which is really nice. You can do that sometimes with certain hands. So yeah, playing ignister cards is nice in your ignister deck. Don't always rely on the 1-card combo being a 1-card combo. Next is 2 Hiyari, 1 Getchiri. I don't know how everyone is unironically thinking Doshin is somehow better than this card, because it really isn't. It's just a searchable. Ichichi searches level 4 lower, so you just search Hiyari, which searches Getchiri, same thing. For I Meet You, you reveal an Earth, search Getchiri, same thing. For special summoning, Doyon specials itself if you control an ignister. This specials itself if you control any cybers, so better in this case. This also isn't an actual vanilla. On field, it protects all your monsters by card effect destruction once per turn, once each. Which is actually really relevant going second into back row, because people play Torrential Tribute, people play Salamangered Rage. This is really, really relevant. It also stops counter traps and shit, I guess, from destroying your stuff. So you can keep it on field and still make your access code. Talking about access code, Going second, you use this to protect your link climbing from these traps, from the destruction. Then you use this to link into access code. This makes access code unaffected. Jammer makes access code attack twice, and then chaining 3 access code to gain attack. They cannot chain to this at all because of access code. You can't chain to access code. And after this chain resolves and your opponent can activate shit again, access code is already unaffected by card effects. So no Onres Imperm, no Onres Veiler, no Onres Nibiru. That's just not happening. You're OTKing through all of that. Gachiri is also, of course, used to make your Quantum unaffected going first, to establish your FDK board. And one final thing that makes this a lot better than Doshin is level 1. This is level 8. Update Jammer requires level 2 or higher monsters. That is insanely relevant. It comes up really, really often. So just, Gachiri is better in every single way. Please just play this card, cut Doshin. This card is insane. This is one of the reasons to play this deck. An unaffected access code that attacks twice is absurd. Next, 2 Idle Reborn. Just another extender that doesn't need you to have no cuts in your main monster zone. It's another pickup of Picari if you already have the field spell, if you already used your Rhoda. So you kinda really do want to play 2. If you don't need to use it as an extender, playing through Nip or just to extend your combo, you can also just set it during your opponent's turn, flip it up, summon back your Doyon, add back a Chi-Chi, and you just perfectly set up for the ODK next turn. You can also just bring back Gachiri if you want. That sometimes makes more sense. Idle Reborn, wouldn't play less, wouldn't play more, 2 fields perfect. Sometimes, but not all the times. Hahaha, funny 2017 jokes. 3 Ignister Island. For people that don't know, this isn't like the Rocket field spell, this isn't like the Salamangreat field spell. You need to draw this to be able to play. The Link one searches this, the Link one is getting ashed, you need to draw this. That's why I'm playing 3. Next, these 2. I don't like talking about these 2. One Called by the Grave, because I hate hand traps, especially Droll. Holy shit, ban that card. And now for our own hand traps, 3 Veiler and 3 Ash. These just hit most of the decks, even though they hit kinda weak. You don't know what you're playing against, so you want to play hand traps as generic as possible. That should kinda make sense. Now, which isn't as generic as possible, is 3 copies of Duel and Lockbird. I really like the thought of just FTKing Drytron and Ignisters, which is why this feels really nice, because I expected Drytron and Ignisters to kind of be the best decks right now. And even against decks that don't search as often, maybe 2 to 4 times, this kind of just becomes a second Ash, because they search once, you drop this, they don't get the second search. So even if your opponent isn't playing a hardcore combo deck, this just hits them. It was never dead, and when it hit, it really hit. Also, fuck Alistar, I fucking hate that card. To DD Crow, the final hand trap we play, we had 2 slots left. This is probably the next best one. If you don't want to play Droll, you could go like maybe 3 Bell, 2 Crow, that should kind of work. This could also be a Bell. It doesn't make a lot of difference. DD Crow was better for me because I played against Orcust and opened this every single game. And they opened Girsu every single game and just DD Crow'd their Girsu target and won from there. That was kind of funny. And then for our final card, this might seem kind of sus, but we are playing at Imposter after all, so I guess this only makes sense, is Triple Pot of Desires. We are playing one-offs that are mandatory for our combo. However, if you played this deck for more than 1 day, you will have realized that it is really fucking bricky. You have only 9 true starters, you just never draw them at all, and this is just the next best way to somehow increase consistency. You are banishing 10 cards from your deck, however, in theory you are banishing 0 cards, because either you open full combo anyways, after you moved all your one-offs from your deck, you activate this, draw into more hand traps. At that point in your deck only 3 and 2-offs are left, so the banishes don't matter. And if you don't open combo and draw Pot of Desires, You activate Pot of Desires, banish the top cards of your deck. You would have never seen those cards anyways, because you're just not playing without the Desires. And those 2 draws may now allow you to possibly play. You may draw your starter, you may draw Island if your infant got stopped somehow. This is a really good card. Today it mostly got ashed, or just drew into double Veiler when I bricked anyways. Most of my losses were just losing to Droll, or drawing too many hand traps. And that round 8 Salamangrate incident, which I'm not elaborating on. And yeah, Desire's really good. The drawback literally doesn't exist. If you want to, if you have the money to, you can try Prosperity. I didn't try that because I'm not buying that card. Prosperity has a similar steep cost in this deck. Banishing 3 cards from your extra deck is kinda sus, because the extra deck is very tight. However, it lets you see 1 more card than Desires, so it increases the consistency slightly more. So you may want to think about that. Just try it out if you have it. If not, just play Desires. I really recommend playing Desires in this. For our extra deck, we have 2 copies of Infant. You may want to try out a third. There's right now nothing speaking against it. It might come up. It didn't come up for me, but I would cut cards that also didn't come up. So if you're playing like a sus version, if you're playing Contact, you can try out a third one. Just don't play less than 2, because you kind of need 2 for the combo. You kind of get where I'm going here. Combo cards: 1 Wicked, 1 Templar, 1 Quantum, 1 Arrival, and 1 combo card Linguribo. Sometimes after making my endboard, I have just 1 random monster left, so I just link that into Linguribo. Having that on the field kind of helps going second, not going second, on turn 3, when they have like 4 back row. This just helps OTK through Torrential and shit, I guess. This, however, never came up today. And even in testing, this rarely came up. So I guess if you want to cut a card, this is one of the first ones to look at. This is the card I would cut for the third. Next is 2 Splash Mage. You do sometimes use this going first, even the sus version, if you're playing Thunibiru. And you really want to use it on turn 3 again. So 2 of them came up a lot. I would never cut the second Splash Mage ever again. At the start I only played 1. The second one came up a lot, so I added 1, and I always needed it. Play 2 Splash Mage. Just do yourself the favor. What's a little more sussy among the extra deck cards is 2 Transcode Talker. This did not come up, and I doubt it kinda ever will. 1 Transcode Talker is mostly fine. The theory was that most of the time you're using a Transcode Talker going first on your first turn. Either just normal combo, you didn't open an extender, just normal 1 card shit, or you have to play through Nibiru, and then you kind of want to have another one for turn 2. However, just a Splash Mage with Gachiri to make Axis unaffected and Jammer to make Axis attack twice is already more than 8,000 damage, especially if you still have a rival and shit on field. So the second transcode never really came up. If you want to add something, maybe a sus, maybe anything else, maybe a second access code, which I actually recommend if you can afford it, cut one of the transcode talkers. Talking about access code, here it is. This is your win condition. Once again, I would have liked a second one. Came up more than a second transcode talker. However, this card is $100. That's unfortunate. But yeah, it's access code talker, nothing more to say. Update Jammer is 100% mandatory. This is how you win all your games. You make a 4300 access code talker that is unaffected by card effects, can attack twice with like 3 to 4 different elements in your graveyard. You're killing everything with that, and nothing survives that. Which is why this deck is so good at going second, because of this OTK stuff, that we theorized on just, if people were playing too many Kaijus and Mystic Minds because this deck becomes too popular, we would just blind second and just OTK, because access code, Gachiri, and Update Gem others are just that broken. Do not cut this card. You absolutely need this to win. 1 Link Spider, playing through Nibiru. You kinda need this for that. It also links off Gilsuit tokens, I guess, if that ever comes up for you. And then finally 1 Fire Phoenix just to make our Rhoda search a Chi-Chi. I didn't play Light Dragon because you never want to Rhoda search Picari. because you can just Rhoda search Ignister, search Picari. That it never comes up, and if it ever comes up, it comes up less often than anything else in the extra deck. So it's just irrelevant. Don't play Light Dragon. Now for the side deck. This was a little weird, this event, because a lot of stuff didn't come up. Maybe because I only played 8 rounds, because I didn't make day 2. Maybe this shit would have come up in actual later rounds or top cut. But yeah, first of all, 3 Lotus. This card is absolutely amazing. The 2 cards this deck just immediately loses to are Kaijus and Mystic Mine. Both get stopped by this. You want to stop them with this. And even if they don't have that, you get knowledge of their entire hand, pick a card from it, and just get rid of it. That's absolutely broken. We didn't have a double hand loop format in 2020 for no reason. This card is absurd. Definitely play it. You always side this in going first. Next we have 3 Gdala. Simply because this hits a lot in a very meaningful way. This just kills Ignisters immediately because they lose their boss monster, they lose their Omni Negate, you just kill them now. Once again, I expected Ignister to be a really popular and really good deck. It was indeed very popular. However, I didn't find a single Ignister opponent, so this didn't come up against them. Also, it's Striker really well, turns off all their back row, and you just kill them. However, I only played against 1 Striker opponent. Game 1, I drew nothing but hand traps against them, so I lost, and Game 2, I opened a hand so weak that it lost indeed to 1 single hand trap. Once again, to prevent that from happening, I'm playing a lot of in-engine Ignister cards that just extend plays. However, I was just unlucky back then. This also comes up against Drytron. It turns their like 5 negates into maybe like 2, I guess. It's not the greatest thing, but it does hit the deck. But once again, you're just playing it for Strike and Ignister. It hits those 2 very popular decks in a very meaningful way. So even though this never came up, it seemed like the right call. And also, of course, Gdala, in case someone's being a little cunt and playing the Wind Barrier statue. Triple Contact C. I didn't cite this in a singular time. The thought behind this was to FTK Tri-Brigade, because if they use the first Tri-Brigade effect to summon either Feligit or Bearbloom, you summon this to the zone that points to. This forces them, if they want to link summon with it. However, the Tri-Brigade locks you out of linking with monsters that don't have Tri-type, and this is an insect, so you can't normally link summon anymore. And since this one blocks the link zone Feligit and Bearbloom are pointing to, they also can't link summon with Tri-Brigade effects. So this just ends their turn immediately. And I also expected Tri-Brigade to be really popular and really good. I didn't find a single Tri-Brigade opponent, so this just never came up. This is also fine against Prankets. Pretty sure that kills them as well. I also didn't play against Prankets ever. Okay, next we have the Fuck Back Row package. 2 Cosmic, Triple Twin, and 1 Red Reboot. I played a 2nd Cosmic Cyclone over Harpy's Feather Duster, simply because it's chainable. That's relevant against Shadow, because if you activate Harpy's Feather Duster, they chain the fusion spell and make Winter anyways. So you want a chainable trap to prevent that, hit it in the standby phase or chain to it. Also, once again, one of the cards you lose to is Mystic Mine. So the thought behind this is against Striker, who mains like 4 Mystic Mines, you side in these 5 even going first, and if they try to Mystic Mine, you just Cosmic Cyclone it and win anyways. And then Red Reboot, cause yeah, it's Red Reboot, it just says no to any kind of back row deck. These came up a lot. They hit Salad, they hit Striker, they hit Shadow, they hit any kind of monkey deck. Definitely recommend playing these. Also, siding in 6 cards is very easy, because going second, you can always easily side out these 3 going first cards, your 2 combo pieces and your anti-hand trap. And then just 3 of the hand trap that is weakest against the deck you're currently playing against, and you just put these 6 in. I am not disappointed with the deck's performance or my performance. All my losses really were just RNG, but unironically, I'm not just trying to cope here. The deck is indeed a lot of fun. I can definitely recommend it. It also seems like a very, very good deck. Right now it's about like $200, so maybe you want to wait until the Megatins are here. Once again, a full guide, if you don't know how to play this deck, is coming sometime next week. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the video, I guess. Hit the bell. YouTube algorithm stuff. Comment. At imposter. Sus Amogos. And see you in the guide, I guess.